Amber mentioned that she highly recommends doing mobility work while resting or recovering. Obviously, there are a ton of, and this isn't like in between intervals. It's not like Amber's finishing one VO2 interval, then like mobility exercise and getting back on. So we should clarify. This is like, days or weeks that we're talking about here. She says there are a ton of mobility exercises for cyclists on the internet, but I'm wondering what you guys find works best for you, or that you'd recommend given your experience. I have a feeling the answer begins with it depends, and it totally does. So I'll drink to that when I hear it on the podcast. Finally, I've not heard any so far, but a space for a shout out. Here's a shout out to the Black Cyclist Network, who are doing some really great work at getting people on bikes, whether they belong to that organization or not. So super cool. And yeah, check them out. Black Cyclist Network, Black Foxes. And I know my Instagram feed sure looks a whole lot more diverse than it used to, intentionally, for me trying to follow different people like that. And then also otherwise too, just, I think the sport's growing. I can't tell if it's just my perspective. We'll see. So shout out to them. Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to go through this pretty quickly. Here are the things that I do. And you can go to, there's a forum thread called How to Fix Knee Injuries for Cyclists. And if you just look up knee pain or anything else on the forum, you'll find this. And I'm going to describe the ones, and then we'll show them what they are. So first thing I have to work on very regularly is ankle dorsiflexion. So basically I have this problem where my tibia drifts, and it drifts out of position on my ankle, and it stops my ankle, like my toes, from being able to come up to my shin. They never get that far, but I'm just saying that like it stops that flexion from even happening. So if I ever try to like lift up my toes and they don't go up very high at all, then I go, okay, I need to do some ankle dorsiflexion. It's a common problem, and it's just something that instead of being frustrated by it, I just know how to fix it now. And it's with bands and doing this thing that you'll see there. I take care of hip internal rotation by doing a 90-90-90. It looks like the Isle of Man logo that you see on the flag. And you do that, and then you try to activate in that position, and it really makes your glutes turn on. I address a short rectus femoris. And this is the front of the muscles that actually sit below your quadriceps. And I should say the most superficial quadriceps that you see there. And it runs the length of your upper leg, and it gets really tight, really commonly. And it ends up causing a lot of pain. And oh my goodness, I'm not sure if anything is more painful when you go to like massage and they try to like separate the muscle. Has anybody else had this from your rectus femoris? Oh, it's so painful. It hurts a lot. So I do a stretch with the band to be able to lengthen that regularly and hopefully avoid having to go through that. Pigeon pose hip extension helps a ton with stability. You're seeing all these on screen, although my other compatriots here are not seeing that. So glute rainbows are another one that I do to be able to help with glute activation. Banded hip twist, another one with glute activation. Supine hip rotation and half bridge is what this one's called. And you can see the picture right now. And basically what you do is you do like a glute bridge. So you lay down on your back, put your feet flat on the ground, and then you lift your pelvis up in the air so that your upper body is straight from shoulders to knees. And then what you do is you take one leg and put it straight out, and then you rotate around on your back or on your shoulders, kind of in that position. Surprisingly tough. Tippy bird twist. You've seen that one before, I'm sure. And then a banded hip jack. You'll see this one. It's tough for me to explain, but hopefully you can go to the forum and you can see all these things. Another great thing that you can do too to work on your quadriceps and make sure they fire evenly, because for cyclists, it's really common that we start to build lateral quadriceps strength and activation while we start to ignore the medial side of things. So your VMO and everything else will turn off, is actually just to put like a Bosu ball behind your leg or like an exercise ball and put it up against the wall so that your knee is a little bit bent, and then just straighten your knee, but make it so that you have to push against that ball in order to straighten your knee. So it's called standing knee extension. You can see it on screen here. Star squats. These are really fun ones. If you put like an eraser or a cup or something on the ground, and you basically do a one-legged squat and you push one cup forward as far as you can with one toe, and that one, you can't let that leg touch the ground. And then you push another one to the side as far as you can, another one to the back. And it's really cool because you get to measure progress with that one too and see how far you can push things. So that's a really helpful one. And then there's rock and roll squats too that can help you with like full chain activation. So
we're 25% of the way through. So we're trying.
Now the left leg. I'm just joking. Yeah. But I know that sounds like a lot, but all those things have been really helpful, and I do them all the time. And we've talked about this on the podcast for plenty of times. Knee injuries absolutely stopped me from cycling and I couldn't fix them. All of this has been really helpful to helping me stop those issues and keep them entirely at bay. So that's what's helped me. And I know that's a lot, but hopefully it can help with the form there. Amber, which ones do you have? And we'll end up putting yours on screen here too.
Yeah, I just have a couple. And I'm, again, your point that it depends is very true. And a lot of this is highly individual because everybody's physiology is different. But cyclists in general are kind of prone to certain overuse injuries. And it's a pretty simple way to think about that. When you look at your position on the bike, your back is kind of hunched over. So anything that's going to sort of put your back into extension versus flexion will kind of counterbalance that. Same with, you want to open up those hip flexors, open up those hips because they're usually, a small closed hip angle when you're on the bike. Your knees and your legs are moving in a single plane. So anything that's going to move your legs out of that plane so that you're opening those hips, you're working with hip extensors, all of those different things. Just think of what you're doing on the bike and what are some things that you could do off the bike that are going to counterbalance some of those positions that you're kind of stuck in for a long time on the bike. So a really good one for that is thoracic spine mobility. And there's actually an awesome blog article on TrainerRoad right now that has some great photos of Chad doing this. But basically, I just get a foam roller and stick it right on my thoracic spine and just lay back and then kind of move back and forth on it to a point where it feels good. And if you don't have a lot of mobility in your thoracic spine, this can be really painful. So you want to be really careful with this one. Go slow with it. You can roll up a towel to start if a foam roller is too much. But this is really just kind of a nice one to sort of open up the chest after being kind of closed down and hunched over on the bike for a long time. And then I learned years ago that I'm really susceptible to shutting off my glutes. So as cyclists, it's perfectly feasible to compensate using your quadriceps and your hamstrings. And you can get by with mostly quad and hamstring. It doesn't mean you should. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And when your glutes do shut down, it has consequences for everything from hip stability to knee stability, knee health to ankle stability. So really making sure that your hips are mobile and stable is important. So for me, that means glute activation. And I really like the dipping bird exercise, which some people refer to as a single leg deadlift. And this one you can do with or without weight. And there's different variations you can do. When I'm early on the season, I'll actually use a pole. I'll hold a pole kind of behind my back vertically along my spine to help my back stay really flat. And it's really nice proprioceptive feedback for me to make sure I'm hinging at my hip and keeping my back flat and not just hunching over. And then from there, I really focus on form and I'll start using that to get my form dialed with no weight. You can variations later on once your form is really good. You can use weight. You can stand on an unstable surface like a MOBA board or a Bosu ball. And then you can also do some right-left rotation with this. So this is a really nice one because you can start really slow, nail the form, and then you can make it increasingly more challenging. And what I love about this is you don't need any equipment. So even if I'm at a race and I have no equipment, I can do this with no equipment. And it's a great way to just wake up the glutes, to just reset that proprioceptive feedback, and get everything online and ready to go. So those would be my two.
Awesome. Pete, or Nate, forgive me. What do you have anything to add to this one?
Nope.
Let's get into Pete then.
All right, I'll try to be quick. So for me, mobility is something that's a limiter for you. And so everybody can kind of think about something that limits them. And then that's kind of where the focus should be. So for me, my neck and shoulders have always given me more problems than just about anything else. The trick I learned, it was actually, both of these are from Kelly Starrett. He taught a mobility course at UNR like 10 or 11 years ago that I went to, and it was kind of life-changing. You just didn't know what you didn't know. And then all of a sudden you're like, I can fix myself. So that was really cool. With this one, you hug a plate, anything from a 10-pound, you want a full-size plate, so 10, 25, 45, and then you take the biggest, deepest breath you can and have your fingers wrapped around the plate, and then you foam roll with that everything kind of open. And it's just such a different experience. You
bear hug like a weight plate, right?
Correct. And so
it's have to take pictures
vertical.
of you doing this and then put it on.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put this in the gym after this. But it's a much different foam rolling experience. And for me, that's enough kind of activation and weight to get my back to kind of be more malleable on a foam roller. The second one is the couch stretch, where another Kelly Starrett, it does a lot of the things that John mentioned in his kind of in one go, which means it's more painful, but it takes less time. So I'm all about that. And it's one where if you just hang out, it's activation again, but hanging out in this position is going to change you as a cyclist. And these are the two that seem to best bang for the buck for me personally. But again, just like we talked about with the weight training earlier, mobility is a lot of work initially. And then once you get to the maintenance phase, your life is much easier. So if you can kind of get yourself out of the hole, once you're there, it takes much less maintenance mobility work than it did to get you there. But you do have to kind of stack the odds in your favor at the beginning. So remember, it's going to be a rough couple months, but then after that, it's not bad at all. It's just touching up. So it's worth those 3 months of pain to get back into the swing of things.
And check out the episode that we did with Kelly Starrett. Just search his name and the podcast. We recorded an episode with him live from Strava HQ. So, and he's a great follow on Instagram, by the way, The Ready State. Check that out. And you can get tons of mobility tips from him. So even more adding on to what we have.
If you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up.
If you didn't like this video, you can give it a thumbs down, but let us know what you would have done differently in the comments below.
If you want to see more of these videos, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to become a faster cyclist, check out TrainerRoad.com.
Do it.
If you think I have better hair than Jonathan, give it a thumbs up. If not, leave a comment.
My hair is better than his.